You opened Jones the Grocer near to the most exciting and most powerful of government organisations in Abu Dhabi. Mubadala, Urban Planning, Presidential Affairs, National Media Council, but it was still in a sandpit. At the back end, it was a sandpit. Why did you open in that location?
You know, it's a really good question. I personally don't like malls. The other reason was nobody wanted to give us a site. This market's cornered by big conglomerates with lots of retail space that they can lease. And we were getting the worst possible sites you could imagine, back end, back corners. And then by chance, the leasing director for Aldar was an Australian guy. And he approached me via somebody else and said, listen, I hear you're looking to locate this Australian brand and we've got the perfect site. And skeptical as ever, I went to see the site and, you know, it really was the back of beyond. There was nothing there. I couldn't understand why I would put my store there. And he said, listen, just look at the tenants. So we looked at the tenants, looked at who was going in there. I realized there was a little travel agency in building A. There were two buildings, A and B. And I went to the travel agency and asked the guy how many first class and business class tickets he issues every day. And he said to me, I issue somewhere in the region of, I think, 30 or 40 a day. So I thought, that's very good for my average spend. And nobody wanted the site. Starbucks looked at it, Boots looked at it. I believe some of the other, Nero looked at it, and everybody had turned it down. And I just thought I was missing something. So it took me a long time to convince myself, but in the end, you know, I said this is a good site. Either I'm stupid or everybody else is stupid. I don't know which one it is.
In 2009, Jones was the only cafe in town. Most of the other coffee places were in hotels. I'm not sure whether people really remember that. It was frequented by His Highness, who brought along Secretary of State Clinton, President Abbas. Jones the Grocer was the celebrity haunt. Is it still like that 10 years later?
So it's a good question. First of all, Mubadala has split its office between iPick up the road and the building we're in. So there has been some dilution of audience. But I think, you know, His Highness still comes there. He may not come as often because I think his role is broadened a lot in the last few years. But we still see, you know, him at least hopefully once a month he's there. He was in there with King Hussein of Jordan just a few weeks ago. So yes, for sure. We still have the same audience. We still have all the bankers coming, which is how we initially built up an audience in Dubai, because a lot of the bankers are based in Dubai, so they come, they see, they go back. And so when we opened here, we had a ready audience almost of people who'd seen us in Abu Dhabi.
How many outlets do you have now in the UAE? Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah?
I think in Abu Dhabi we've got 6 locations, 5 in Dubai, and we've got 2 opening.
How do you manage your staff from country to country? There must be so many different cultures. How do you manage to retain them?
We have a culture in the business, and that culture goes across all our stores, irrespective of geography. We grew very, very rapidly in the first 4 to 6 years. And in those 6 years, it was very hard to really manage the culture of a business that's almost changing every day or every 3 days or every 4 days. You know, stores are so busy. And of course, we hired very good people. We paid more than the market. And so what happened was that anybody who wanted to compete with us would come into our stores and you know, they'd actually interview our staff and hire them in our store. And this happened a lot. So we had a lot of poaching. We struggled to train people because there were people who would come in, they'd work for a year, 6 months, and they'd leave. And that was a very big challenge. And then, of course, as soon as that challenge was over, the market changed in this, and then it was a case of trying to retain employees because the market was very, very challenging. So it's been a bit of a roller coaster. But answering your question, the intention is to be very consistent in our culture and in our mission, vision, and values across the business. Yeah.
What's your leadership style?
It's collaborative. So actually, one of the things we've set ourselves a target for this year is to set up a very collaborative approach to senior management. Of course, I try and lead in terms of portraying our vision and our mission to our employees. Everybody in who we employed at a senior management level has come from some sort of a food and beverage background. I still believe that some of the elements of, particularly operational elements of the food business, are very, very specific to the food business. So it sometimes helps to have that experience here.
What advice would you give for startups in business?
I mean, the first step is to actually have the idea. Take the idea to the end, write it down, think about the idea, and then actually go and deliver the idea. Actually make an attempt at it. I think planning is really important. I mean, I think gut instinct and an understanding of what you want to do will come from the ideation phase, where you actually sit down and you sort of think through the idea right to the end, and have an end. What is the end? I mean, in a lot of business, in the case of a business, in a business idea, is the end to sell the business? Is the end to just live off the business? Is the end to make a lot of money? What is the end? And I think it's good to think through that to the end. Is the end that you want to have 500 stores and just sit in a mansion somewhere, or is the end to just be happy out of what you do? Maybe one store is enough.
Congratulations on your wonderful success. You've spawned so many other businesses.
Thank you. I think it's to do with the brand equity. People like the brand. People come in, they love what they see, and which is why we have all this competition that's all over Dubai. I mean, to be honest, since we opened this location and some of the other locations, there was nothing on this road, and there were 5 restaurants, and it's the same everywhere. And most of them are trying to do this sort of, casual dining, cafe style of food. And it's flattering in a way when somebody comes up to you and says, listen, we looked around Dubai, and this is a brand we want to open in Saudi Arabia. And you say, great, we're doing something right.